Welcome to Bloodbath & Beyond. Today we review BC Butcher. Your eyes will pop, your loincloth will drop.
Written by Kansas Bowling and Kenzie Givens, and directed by Kansas Bowling, starring Leilani Fideler, Natasha Halevi, Dwayne Not the Rock Johnson, and the O.J. Simpson trial star, Kato Kaelin. Betrayed by her village, Dina is killed by Neandra, the village's leader. Dina's boyfriend just happens to be the BC Butcher, and now he's going on a murderous rampage in a million BC. So what do we like? First and foremost, it's worth mentioning that Kansas Bowling was 15 years old when she wrote this script, and she just wanted to create. And I think that's super admirable to see somebody see a project like this through, because it was a couple years later that she actually ended up filming it. And when she did, she shot it on 16mm film because she was inspired by Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the look of that. I think it's just really cool that somebody that young created a movie using the limited resources that she had, and then it got picked up on Troma, and I now own a Blu-ray of it. I think that's just really fucking dope.
I loved Rex, played by Kato. He had some of the best lines.
You are capital great. I'd rather grate my cheese than grate you. You're great. Great, great, great.
Not only is the movie ridiculous in nature, but they have a lot of funny scenes. Like, they go to slay this beast that's just like a stuffed animal. It definitely has some like ridiculous over-the-top fun moments, almost because of the limited budget.
I'm so worried about Poppy.
Don't mention that troglodyte's name again!
I'm Poppy. I'm Poppy. I'm Poppy. I'm Poppy. I'm Poppy.
I enjoyed our killer, the Butcher. He was a beastly man who would go around and kill people. That's pretty much one of the checklists you look for with big slashers.
Beefcake, yep.
Beefcake and can kill people.
Nailed it. What was kind of cool too is this is like an all-female cast. Any of the guys in the movie don't play a major role, and they just like dumb them down. I think it was funny because we're used to watching movies where the girls are the dumb ones making stupid decisions. In this one, it's like the guys are just you can't even understand them because they're actually Neanderthals. I thought that was an excellent take. There was a prehistoric band back in the day that played everything on instruments made of watermelons.
But give them a chance. They're called the Ugly Kids.
Their songs are great, and their instruments are hilarious. Now let's move on to our dislikes. Generally speaking, I think this movie is just too slow. I mean, there are ridiculous moments, but they're kind of few and far between because you have a lot of this leader, Neandra, just kind of like talking and delegating tasks, and she's just consistently talking about people like trying to be with her lover, who is Rex, and just warning the townspeople.
Don't you know Rex never would have left with you in the first place?
And it just kind of gets really boring because it doesn't really add anything to her character. You just know that she's just like a stuck-up bitch and everybody likes her, and that's all we know.
This film does actually lack in the kill department. Like, you get the kills, but they're nothing to be like, oh, that was a pretty good kill.
I thought the one in the back was okay.
For a slasher film, despite the fact that this is supposed to be like a prehistoric slasher, it just didn't deliver what I kind of hoped.
You have some preconceptions when you go into a movie with the title of BC Butcher, and especially if you've seen like what they're wearing this cheetah garb, and so they're kind of playing up the whole BC aspect, despite being filmed in like a forest behind their house. I think I would just like expect maybe a knife made of rocks or something stupid like that, or a boulder kill. And you don't really get the things that you might envision when going into a movie like this.
Also, it was kind of weird with the like voodoo aspect of it. That was kind of out of place. Like, it was awkward when you have Dina popping up and saying, kill them to the butcher.
And all I was thinking was, this is just a pad out to make this a feature. There's no reason this had to be a full-length feature film, to be honest. I think that this should have stayed like a 25-minute movie. It would have been more cohesive. It would have been funnier because all of like the ridiculous situations are in a very like tight grouping, and you don't have these long scenes of dialogue that just didn't add anything to the story. So it just would have been better as a shorter film.
Yeah, there's a lot in this film that doesn't need to be there and doesn't actually make sense. In particular, a part where Dina is covered in fruit. I don't get what it meant.
I think it was supposed to be some kind of sacrificial offering at that point, but I don't know. Or he's just like dressing up his queen.
I am the way. I am the way.
Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings. I think I like the idea of this film more than I like the film itself. I think it's really commendable to see somebody as young as Kansas was when she started creating this film, and even after the creation of this film, she's still a young girl who's created a film on a very low budget, and she went out there and got distribution from the most notable B-movie film company, Troma. When it comes to the movie itself, I have no complaints when it came to the production. I thought the 16mm did look really great, and the camera work was fine enough, but I did think that it was just way too long, and maybe the pacing was just like off, because I didn't care for Neandra, and that's unfortunate because she's the main character of the movie. When it came to the BC Butcher himself, I thought that some kills could have been more inventive, and there's a lot of aspects when it comes to prehistoric slashers that you could throw in here. I just don't think that the puns were where they could have been. It hasn't been done that often. It's just open for you to grab all of the low-hanging fruit jokes, and unfortunately, there just weren't enough funny moments. All of that said, I will certainly be looking forward to Kansas Bowling's next film because I really like her passion and I want to see what she can do with the momentum that she got from creating her first film. So I'm gonna give this 1.5 peekaboobies out of 5.
Peekabooby.
This film has some very interesting characters, and I like the direction and take they went with it in the sense that the women were super strong, whereas the cavemen were literally cavemen and bumbling idiots, which gave us a great character in Rex, who I thoroughly enjoyed in this film.
I brought you grapes.
I love grapes. Seedless?
Yes.
My favorite.
I thought the butcher had a good look to him, but we just didn't get the kills that you would expect from this film. I felt the pacing was a little too slow and it was a little redundant, but at least it wasn't too long. This film did run 51 minutes, which any longer it would have been very boring, but they could have trimmed about 15 minutes off of it for sure to make it more interesting. I did, however, enjoy the location because the film was shot to make you believe that they were in the prehistoric era and just trapped by like a river and a cave. So to me, it was believable for what it was, and I enjoyed that. So with that being said, I'm gonna give this film 1.5 blanky spankies out of 5.
Blanky. Spanky. Me hunting mammoth for you, puppy.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you do want to check it out, there are links in the description where you can find it. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything Bloodbath and beyond.